Namaste, Hare Krishna. I hope all of you are doing well. For those of you who have been regular listeners, thank you for joining back to the reading of Srimad Bhagavad Gita with me. I hope all of you have subscribed and are getting ready for the Sunday session, those of you who have registered. And I request those of you who are joining me for the Sunday session to please come prepared with a few questions that you may have, because the first session that I am encouraging to have is a discussion format. So it's not like a class that I will be giving on Bhagavad Gita. I request all of you to please listen to these video recordings before you come to the class. And in the class, I encourage all of you to actually get into asking as many questions as possible. So for those of you who are joining in for the first time, thank you, welcome. And I request you also to immediately subscribe, listen from the very beginning so that you are able to catch up to where we are. If you can join in for the session this Sunday, that's great. But if not, you can join us on subsequent Sundays. Today we will continue our reading of Bhagavad Gita. We are reading the translation and purport by my Guruji, Bhakti Gaurava Narsingha Maharaj, and his Guru, that is my Param Guru, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. My name is Ashtasakhi Dasi. I am also known as Archana Krishnamurti. We have completed the reading of chapter 1 and today we will continue the reading of chapter 2 verse 40 onwards. नेहाभिक्रम नाशो अस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्व अल्पम अपि अस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयत. Translation: In this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Purport: Activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Friends, just to rewind a bit and to remind you what we are reading about, we are hearing from Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita explanation of Karma Yoga starting from here. So I'll read this sentence again. Activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed, otherwise the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%, whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. Ajamila performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100%, by the grace of the Lord. There is a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harer bhajanna pakko atha patet tato yadi yatra kwa vabhadram abhud amushyakim kovartha apto abhajatam swadharmataha, which means if someone gives up self-gratificatory pursuits and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? This is a question raised in Srimad Bhagavatam in 1st canto, 5th chapter, verse 17. Or As the Christians say, what profiteth a man if he gain the whole world, yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? Material activities and their results end with the body. But work in Krishna consciousness carries the person again to Krishna consciousness even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Verse 41. Vyavasyatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahu shakha hi anantascha buddhayo avyavashayinam. Translation: those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. Purport: a strong faith in Krishna consciousness that one should be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasatmika, intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita states, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudridha Nishchaya Krishne Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Haya. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagements of one's reactions from past good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudevah sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabhaha, by which one comes to know perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. As water on the root of a tree is automatically distributed to the leaves and branches, in Krishna consciousness one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instructs us in his famous prayers for the spiritual master as follows. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadanna gatihi kuto api, dhyayam stuvams tasya yashas trisandhyam, vande guruho Shri Charanarvindam. Which means, by satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day and offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. The whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body, not theoretically but practically, when there is no longer chance for sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities. One who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by various types of fruitive acts. Text 42 and 43. Yam imam pushpitam vacham प्रवदन्ति अपश्चिताः वेदवादा रताः पार्थ नान्यत् अस्तीति वादिनाः कामात्मानाः स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदां क्रिया विशेष बहुलां भोगैश्वर्य गतिं प्रति. Translation: Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Purport: people in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kanda portions of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than sense gratificatory proposals for enjoying life in heaven, where wine and women are available and material opulence is very common. In the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, especially Jyotishtama sacrifices. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to heavenly planets must perform these sacrifices, and men with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole purpose of Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. As fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees, without knowing the results of such attractions, similarly, unenlightened men are attracted by such heavenly opulence and the sense enjoyment thereof. In the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, it is said that those who perform the 4 monthly penances become eligible to drink the Somarasa beverages to become immortal and happy forever. Even on this earth, some are very eager to have Somarasa to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratifications. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies of Vedic sacrifices. They are generally sensual, and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are gardens called Nandana Kanana, in which there is good opportunity for association with angelic, beautiful women and having a profuse supply of Somarasa wine. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, there are those who are purely attached to material, temporary happiness as lords of the material world. Verse 44. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya paharta chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhau na vidhiyate. Translation: in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Purport: Samadhi means fixed mind. The Vedic dictionary, the Nirukti says, Samyag adhiyate asmin Atma Tattva Yathatmayam, which means when the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is called Samadhi. Samadhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyment, nor for those who are bewildered by such temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy. At this point, I would like to read the Anuvritti or commentary given by Swami Bhakti Gaurava Narsingha. The greatest fear that is mentioned in the above verse is the fear of losing the human form of life, and taking birth in an animal body or lower. Some people think of the consciousness that is generally called Atma as being human and other Atmas as being animal, etc. But in reality, no such distinction between a human Atma and an animal Atma exists. One transmigrates according to one's karma through many lower species of life and eventually arrives at the human stage. Human life offers one the opportunity of self-realization or the chance to cultivate spiritual knowledge and awareness. One who attempts to become self-realized is not always successful in one attempt or in one lifetime. However, Sri Krishna gives us the assurance that even a little endeavor on the path of self-realization will save us from the greatest fear, namely that of taking birth in a lower life form. The perfection of self-realization in the yoga system is called samadhi, or the complete absorption of one's consciousness in the Supreme. The student of Bhakti Yoga achieves such a state of self-realization by following the instructions of Sri Krishna with steady determination. This state is only possible due to the great boon of having attained the human form of life. However, if one neglects the opportunity of self-realization in human life, then one certainly runs the risk of sinking down into animal life or worse. It is sometimes argued that animals like cats and dogs have a better, more comfortable life than many humans. And that is certainly true for many cats and dogs in Western countries. But there is no guarantee that in losing the human form of life, one will become a dog or cat and can be taken care of by a rich American family. One may become an animal that is eaten alive by wild beasts or torn apart by predators in the sea. Certainly it goes without saying that such a life and death is full of suffering. Therefore, to avoid the unnecessary sufferings found in animal life, a person who has achieved the human platform should, with great determination and diligence, pursue the path of self-realization as outlined in Bhagavad Gita. So with this, we will conclude today's reading, friends. Thank you so much for joining in. I will see you all again very soon. Till then, take care of yourself. Hare Krishna.